The Teal Mask DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is finally here, and it's brought us a bunch of old Pokemon to shiny hunt for and some new ones, so I decided to tier all of them, as shiny hunting's going to be one of the most fun things to do in this DLC, so you might as well know what to go after. I'll explain the tier names as we move on, but BM7 guarantee already has one Pokemon for sure, and it's one of the new ones in the game. Dublin, this little apple guy, let me move him all the way to the tippity top. This is one of the best shinies we have ever gotten. It is a BM7 guarantee that I'm gonna get it and have it on my team. But as we look down below at some returning Pokemon, there's some pretty decent shinies here. Ekans is, it's okay. It's kind of mid. I like Arbok more. I like yellow shinies. I think this one's pretty. You know, Sandshrew, I like the green a little bit more on this guy. I think he's huntable, but Sandslash, that's a must-have. There's just something about the red on the back that stands out. I think it's a really pretty shiny. I definitely want it on my squad, but Clefairy, Clefable, they're gonna go in Waste of Luck. Now, Garchomp is reserved for the shinies that barely change, like Poliwag. A nightmare to shiny hunt for in this game. These guys, you can tell with the green on the ears, but kind of a waste of luck when you find them. Now, Vulpix is definitely huntable, but Ninetales is a BM7 guarantee, easy. It's one of the better shinies in the game. You absolutely want to get a Vulpix so you can get yourself a Ninetales. But you know what? If you want to get shinies a little bit easier, don't forget when you sub to BM7, you find more shinies. You don't believe it? Try it out for yourself, as there's a lot of cool shinies to get, including some of my froggy friends. I know earlier I said that Poliwag was Garchomp tier, and Poliwhirl is... I do like the color. I'll put it mid because it's teetering the border between Garchomp and it's a pretty color, but it does bring us two really cool shinies with Poliwrath, very huntable, very cool, but in my opinion, Politoed, where are you? This little frog, I think it's a must-have. I don't know if it's a PM7 guarantee. Nah, it's a PM7 guarantee. What am I saying? It's one of the best shinies we've gotten, the bubblegum frog. Really cool, and the animation it has as it runs beside you, just perfect. Now, looking at this line, I do love the golden leaves on the Bellsprout. I think that's probably huntable. Weeping Bell might be in Waste of Luck, and Victory Bell may be mid. I don't love the color changes here. They're not very exciting. Gold's just a great color, we know that, but it's never ideal when you may not want to evolve a shiny you get, but it happens sometimes. Geodude's a pretty cool one. I actually think that's a must-have. It's so exciting to see the golden rock just sitting there, and Graveler's pretty good too. I'll put you and Golem into huntable. I do like the colors. It's not as great as the golden floating rock, but I think they're pretty solid. I think there's gonna be a decent amount of huntable shinies, as Coughing and Wheezing really fit here perfectly, but Snorlax is going into the Garchomp tier. Everybody likes Snorlax. I actually don't think I've met someone that actively dislikes Snorlax, so it would be pretty cool if it had a great shiny. It's a pretty rare Pokemon. It's not easy to get a shiny Snorlax, so why has it gotta basically be the same color? Why couldn't it be like, I don't know, like red or green or any other color? It would be cool, but Sentret's kind of going along with that of not really changing its color at all, so at least there's company down here. Now, Furret, it's a pretty good shiny. I think that's huntable, you know? Not all of the pink shinies are my cup of tea, but it's a pretty shiny, and I know a lot of people want to get this on their squad. I really like Hoot Hoot. I think this, for me, is a must-have. I'm biased towards the yellow and golden shinies. I know that, and that's fair. But that and Noctowl, I'm pretty sure they were one of, if not the first shiny shown in the anime, and there's just something about it where it seems a little bit more special. You got to see it on the big screen. I don't know, I think they're good colors. Maybe for most people we could put them down to huntable, but biases are biases, right? Like, it's we're throwing them here. And speaking of that, I really like shiny Spinarak. I think it's a really, really pretty shiny. It's going to be fun to hunt for this, where this thing's showing up in the green grass, crawling about, and this thing's going to be blue and standing out like crazy. I really do like its evolution into Ariados. It stands out in a great way. That blue and yellow is great. The purple is really, really pretty. I think they absolutely nailed it with these two. I forgot to put you here, but it's never too late. Don't you worry. Apom's an interesting one, though, as it's normally purple, and now it's pink. I'm really stuck between mid and huntable. And you know what? I do think I like the shiny. It fits the Apom. It does look nice. I feel like more Pokemon should be in the mid tier. I might be being a little bit too kind. But you know what, Apom? I think you deserve to be there. Now, Yanma is one of my favorite shinies. This is going straight into must-have. It's not a BM7 guarantee. It's a must-have. It's absolutely a must-have. Now, Quagsire, I think this is a mid shiny. There's a decent amount of purple and pink shinies. Quagsire, it's fine. And you know, I think Magcargo is the same way. And Magcargo really gets dinged because I think Slugma is a BM7 guarantee. Molten silver. I mean, some smarter people say mercury, but to me, I see there's gold shinies, and then this one, molten silver. It just looks so freaking cool. And to go from that to just randomly pink feels like a downgrade, which makes me sad. Moving over to Gligar that we skipped over, which was a little rude of me. I do think I think it's huntable. I really like the blue on the Gligar. It stands out, but as I look at like the vibrant blue on the Yanma over here, or even like the blue and little pink here, I think these two stand out a lot more than the Gligar, which it's just pretty solid. So I think huntable makes sense for Gligar. Now moving into some of my favorite Pokemon with Swinub and Piloswine and Mamoswine. This is going to be really interesting, as I know they're not the greatest shinies. So to be fair, I think I'm going to put Swinub is huntable. Piloswine is must-have, as I must have it. I'm actually, I'm going to save myself. I'm putting that as PM7 guarantee. These might be my own biases, shining through, but I'm fine with that. And Mamoswine, I'll put the huntable. It's not a great look on Mamoswine. It's kind of an ugly green. I do think it's a lot better on the swine up here. Mamoswine's just a great Pokemon, and I think it's worth hunting for. You want to have a shiny one on your team. I got a shiny one named Emerald with a mark on it. That's pretty cool. But I do really like the yellow on Piloswine. I think it's really pretty. Every time I see it, it just stands out in a pretty good way. Poochyena and Mightyena are actually really good shinies, and I'm going to put them into must-have. I think that nice yellowy gold, it stands out in a nice way. They still keep the color that makes it look like a dark type Pokemon, which is nice. You still have like the shiny that stands out in a big way, but it doesn't stray too far away from it, having that kind of, the black and gray. It's a dark Pokemon. It's more brown at this point, but I don't know. I think the combination of a fun color and still kind of staying true to the Pokemon a little bit is nice. Now, Lotad is a PM7 guarantee. The colors on this thing, I think it's incredible. I really love to see it, and I really don't love to see the Lombre and the Ludicolo. I think they might be mid. Like, they're fine. They're no Lotad, and maybe I just like Lotad more in general, but these shinies, they don't do it for me. They don't really change a ton. Speaking of that, I think Seedot's probably a waste of luck. It barely changes. I think it's more noticeable than the Garchomps of the world, but it's not good. Nuzleaf, like, the orange is kind of nice. But then we get back to Shift Drain. I think that's waste of luck. I mean, these guys are just not ideal. Just this grouping all together, you're really letting the squad down, because Lotad, we're raising it up high, and it just looks so good. Look at it. I assume it's in my hands. Look at this thing. It looks amazing. But speaking of looking amazing, Nosepass. Not very good at many things, but it's good at being a cool shiny. And I'm gonna put that into must-have. It's close to the PM7 guarantee, but I don't think it's there. Volby and Illumise are pretty mid in all aspects. They might be kind of huntable, but I feel like the only thing I like about either of them is the yellow, and I don't even think that's enough to push them up. I think you might be mid, and I think you may be waste of luck. I don't really like that the colors get a little bit like more drab and dreary. This is kind of a nice color, but I don't know what they did with Cramorant. Did I just call that Cramorant? I called that Cramorant. That's not a good look. That's Crawdaunt. Where are you, Cramorant? I'm very sorry. You guys next to each other. It's not even a competition. I'm actually moving you up into the BM7 guarantee, as I really love everything about this shiny. I always have. My favorite thing about this Pokemon is the shiny. I like it. It's a drastic change, and it's a good drastic change. It's not like Crawdaunt, Cramorant. But then we move on to two great Pokemon, Feebas, which could take you over 200,000 encounters to get, which is probably just huntable. The Melodic it's a PM7 guarantee. Duskull I've always really liked, but Dusclops a little bit less. And I think Duskull is a must-have. It's a great shiny. Dusclops a little bit meh. But then we move on to some of my least favorite Pokemon with Chimecho and Chingling. Now, Chimecho's kind of like Crawdaunt, where the colors just kind of fade. I don't like it. And you are just terrible. It's just disappointing. It's upsetting, and I'm moving on quickly because the next few are easy. You should obviously go with Apom. You are disappointing, just like your father. You are a really pretty shiny. I actually like Yanma a bit better. I think the green goes better than like the red and blue. I just feel like the colors pop a little more here, but this is still good. But Gliscor, this is an elite shiny. This is a BM7 guarantee if I've ever seen one. The blue and the yellow just complements each other so well. You get the Gligar to get to the Gliscor every single time, and you're happy about it 11 times out of 10. Probopass, I don't love it as much as Nosepass, but no, it's still really good. I think I like this a little bit more, but I think both are fantastic shinies. Dusknoir now. What did they do? What did they do to you? They had red ghosty ghosts fluttering about, spooking everybody, but then why did they barely change you? Why would they do that? Who okayed that? Timber, you're kind of mid. I don't think you're bad enough to be waste of luck, but you're definitely kind of mid. You're kind of mid. I think you're all mid. No, I think I'm fine saying they're all mid there. Now the little Bugsy guys over here, I'm kind of conflicted on. You're actually way worse than I thought you were. But I kind of like the colors on the Swaddle. And the white inside here is interesting. I think I'm gonna put them in mid. I don't think they're waste of luck bad, but I don't know if they're really good. I think they should be there. Now, Ducklet and Swanna, I think they're both huntable. I'm not the biggest fan of pink, but it is a nice change. And while Swanna doesn't change a lot, I feel like the really subtle purple here is really pretty and complements the design really well. But as we get to more exciting things, I think you gotta be a must-have. I was wrong about Lampents. After seeing the flame inside, I think that may be a huntable. I was gonna put that in Garchomp tier, but seeing it in game, this is really cool. But the Chandelure is easily a BM7 guarantee. Such an incredible shiny. You go from the ghostly purple to the regular orange flame, and it's so easy to do a good shiny with flames. I mean, Ponyta, Rapidash, these two, they're just incredible. Come on, you change the color of the flame and you almost always win. I really do like Mienfoo shiny. I think you are actually a must-have, and Mienshao might just be a huntable. It's definitely a step down, but it's still nice. It's still a nice shiny. Interesting to see all of this pink here, but still a nice shiny over here. I just like that blue a lot more. I don't like anything happening over here. You are absolutely a waste of luck, and you're right next to it. It just doesn't look good. Carbink, I've always been wildly undecided on this shiny, but that means it's probably mid, at least in my book. But two shinies I am not conflicted on are these two ghosts, and I'll put them both into must-have and Trevenant immediately into that BM7 guarantee. As seeing these guys in the game, it's gonna stand out like crazy in the spooky woods, which is just a nice touch. Seeing the shinies in the overworld is more than half the fun. Going back down to some more personal favorites. I think Grubbin is huntable, but Charjabug and Vikavolt, come on. Vikavolt is another BM7 guarantee. They did such a good job with the Pokemon in this DLC. I love so many of these shinies. But Charjabug is no slouch either. I've seen this guy driving a race car. I love Charjabug. It's my favorite racer. Lightning McWho? I only know Charjabug. Good job! I am gonna put you into mid and you into mid because you're almost impossible to see. because you're such a tiny Pokemon. If it was a bigger Pokemon and I could actually see it, I'd probably have it higher, but like, how are you gonna get excited about a shiny where you can barely see what's happening there? But I also don't love this next line. And I'm gonna have to put them all into mid. Now, I love yellow. And yellow and pink's actually a pretty good color combination, but there's just something about these guys where it's just not good. Like, I don't think they're good shinies, but they are pseudo legendaries and they are a pretty big change. So I don't think they're a waste of luck. They're definitely not Garchomp, but they'll be satisfying to find. I don't really think they're good shinies. And Morpeko, that's a pretty mid shiny. It's fine. A few Hisui Pokemon here. Weird Ear is huntable. You actually with the yellow. Wait a minute. You might be a must-have for me at least. I like the yellow more, but it's pretty solid. The Sneasler. You're huntable. The Ursaluna form, which is shiny locked, so we're not gonna get it anyway, but I think it's just mid. Unfortunately. And also, unfortunately, I think these guys are kind of mid as well. They look nice when I see them like this, but in game, they really don't do it for me. It's nice in theory, but could have been a lot cooler. I don't actually know if the ogre changes at all, so I'm pretty sure I have to throw all of them here. I gotta throw you here. What are you doing? You got uglier. What is happening with you? Dude, what happened here? And you might just be mid. I don't know what happened with these guys, but I'm not a fan of it in the slightest. I also don't understand why Wooper is so low here. I'm gonna put you at Huntable. I've always liked the Wooper shiny more than Quagsire. I don't know why you were left for the end, but there you are, little buddy. But now the only thing to go through are the Gen 4 starters, and I'm sure feelings are gonna get hurt here as I don't really think these are great shinies. I think Chimchar is pretty mid. Monferno, mid. I think Infernape is probably huntable. You're also pretty mid. You're pretty mid. You're pretty mid. You might actually be huntable. You know, maybe this line is huntable. They stand out a little bit. It's kind of interesting, but the Gen 4 starters weren't the greatest collection of shinies, but that's okay. Because it turns out that this DLC actually gives us a decent amount of cool shiny Pokemon to hunt for. But at the end of the day, I just want to hear what shinies you're going after and which ones you found. So good luck and have some fun.